Authentic patina is gorgeous. Look at the colors. It's wonderful. It's naturally occurring, and it's beautiful. But what if we could recreate the effects of patina with fake patina, with faux-tina? Can it be done? I think so. Check this out. My buddy John Melton from Nashville Early Bronco has a great looking 75 Bronco. He daily drives this thing. The small block sounds great, stance is on point, and the patina is awesome. Out on a wheeling trip, he attempted a Kowalski on gravel and found a rather stout tree on the side of the road. He got a new tailgate from Tom's Early Bronco, and I shot it for him in my booth. But it would look really out of place with a perfect new paint job, so here's where it got interesting. What we're trying to do here is match the appearance more than match the actual color. Don't get me wrong, we still have to match the color, but this thing is patinaed nicely. There's a couple of rust holes in it, but it's a fairly solid truck. You can see the door is a darker color than the quarter panel and the fender. Obviously the door's been painted. We're not going to match that. We're trying to match the appearance of the tailgate. We don't want a brand new painted panel on this rig. We want to patinize it. So we're going to be sampling color, replacing the whole gate obviously, but sampling color right here because that's what's really close to the gate. The other thing is this. We have to pull the color of the patina off to find us someplace to start. So this is Ford's red oxide under here. So strategy is this. For the green color, we don't have much green right there, so we're not too worried about a match there, but we do want it to match on this side. So I think what we're going to do is pull a color sample off of here so that way it hits real close to right here, even though there's probably a spare tire swing out on there. That's what we're going to get color from. And then we'll go right here and get this crazy beautiful red oxide color to give us something to style with. This right here, we can get that effect with a spray gun, turn the pressure down, something like that. But the most important things are this color, and then it's just art. Then it's a craft project, right? I grabbed my Axalta color camera and took a few samples of what I wanted to mix. Most body shop supply stores have a camera and can mix you just about anything you want. I found a couple solid places of both the green and the rusty red and saved it into my camera. And we use the new Chromax XP base coat system to mix the colors. So the color camera technical name is spectrophotometer. It doesn't matter. It's a color camera. It samples the camera. So it's got a dock here. It's connected to the computer. It sits there. Green light tells me it's sitting the right way. I don't have my reading glasses on, so sometimes a green light helps out good. So now, this is connected to the internet. It's Axalta's Color Net, and it allows us a bunch of different things. We can search for a formula, we've got favorites stored, we can go by a VIN, or we can go by the color camera reading. So we're going to do that. Okay, it truncated my title. This is Tina Green, so there's the name of your Bronco now. Tina Green sounds like an 80s disco or late 80s pop star. And then red oxide. So that's cool. So here's where this gets fun. Let's look at, okay, so we're going to set this at quality in Axalta language means what type of paint. This is Chromax XP, Tina Green, and we're going to continue. What it's doing is searching its database to find a similar color that it can compare it to and give us some data back, give us a sample back. Okay. So right here, this is the best match that the computer came up with. 1.7, that's pretty good. 1.0 to 1.5 is typically almost a perfect match. 1.7, I'll take it. So that's what the color camera saw. This is what the formula is going to look like. Wow. That's pretty dang close, right? So now we can do things like this. We can throw a little more light at it. And we can see what it's going to look like in bright sunlight. Dude.
That's crazy.
It's a little more yellow, but it's really stinking close. It's really close. So I'm going to call that good. We're not color matching. We're patina matching. Right. We're finish matching here. So that's really great. I'm very happy with that. So now we can view the formula, which is the color recipe. If anybody's ever been to a home center, you've seen them pour colors out. Each color toner has a code. So it's a fairly complex color. With this edit button here, I can plus or minus each one of these volumes, and then it shows me a difference. It's a digital tint process. It's really amazing software. It allows you to get really close. We're not going to do this. We're not going to tint this formula because we just don't need to.
Yeah.
We're just going to mix what we've got. It wants a quart can because it's assuming that I'm going to mix my reducer in here. This is a 2-to-1 mix ratio. I'm not. I want this standalone so I can mix into my cup. So I'm going to just lie to it and say that we've got a quart can on there. It takes into the measure, count the weight of the can. Now we go on the touch screen, we go continue, and now we start pouring. I pull each toner off the list and pour it up to the value on the computer, being very careful not to over pour or under pour. I've mixed hundreds of colors in my time in body shops, but John had never mixed any, and he didn't want to, but I made him, and he nailed it. We threw the green on the shaker and then mixed the red oxide color, keeping in mind that sun-faded color is inconsistent and the camera only sees one color at a time, so we might have to improvise a little.
Oh man.
Yep, there it is.
Green.
Dirty faded Bronco green. Now it's time to prep the tailgate, which is a reproduction that's brand new in the box. Bare metal, no matter how clean it looks, you always want to pre-wipe everything that you're going to put any kind of a wet coating on. And I will show you why. When it looks gnarly, that's what we're pulling up off of there. We're just going to go over it before we do any prep. Now, if we had prepped this, because we got to put scratches in it, mechanical tooth. But if we had done that, with my sandpaper, my scuffing pads, I'm going to grind all that schmutz down into the metal, and I don't want to do that. We're using gloves so we don't contaminate the clean steel while we prep. Safety glasses are a good idea too. So the cool thing about a nice stamping like this is that we don't have to prime and sand it. We're going to prime it with a sealer, but we're going to paint right over top of the sealer.
Oh, okay.
And it'll look factory like that because you can see all the dimples and all that stuff. But it's also, like I said, it's a nice quality stamping and we don't have to sand and block it. If you were doing one of those Mecum auction, Coyote, full-on restoration Broncos, yeah, we'd prime it and block it, prime it again, and then all that stuff. But this one, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter if it's smooth.
Right.
But you don't want a perfect panel up against the rest of that truck.
No, it needs to match.
Yeah. And we're wiping it off again because that. It's not the exciting part of a paint job, but it's the most important part. Your panels have to be clean before any coatings go down. All right, so from here, we've got a bare metal gate. It's prepped. I'm not going to say that John dropped the tailgate and put a dent in it. I'm not going to say that. But what we've got here is a filler repair with a small dent in the sheet metal. But from here, we can do what's called a wet-on-wet application. We're going to do a sealer coat on top of the bare steel, which makes that panel compatible with our paint. So right on top of the sealer, we'll go straight to the green color. We'll do our green color, and then we can come back in and get crafty and stylish and do our effects coating with the red oxide color and mimic the patina that's on John's actual tailgate and style this back up to that, because we'll have a gray ground coat, we'll have green, we'll have red oxide, and we could just really get creative there. So the gloves are off, the rules are gone, and it becomes really cool. Then the final bit of the effect coat is the way we treat the clear coat. Super shiny clear doesn't look like patina. We've got satin clear, we've got gloss clear. We can do a mix of both. Right up here, I've got flattening agents that'll make it look like a concrete sidewalk. That's shiny. And from there, it's just a kind of a cool thing to be able to get creative and style it. But we're starting off with actually what's a really good panel, except for that. Our ground coat, the sealer coat, is epoxy. And this particular epoxy works extremely well on bare metal, but it also has what's called an induction time, which means when you mix it together, you got to wait a certain amount of time for everything to blend and start to cross-link together. It needs about 20 minutes. So I'm going to pre-mix this, then I'm going to go in and do a final wipe and an anti-static spray on that panel in there, and by that time, by the time we suit up, dial in our guns, we should be ready to go. 20 minutes. My static gun eliminates any static on the surface, which can draw in contamination to the wet paint. So this bit of equipment is a static gun. It completely eliminates the static charge on the surface. With a panel like that hanging up, it builds its own electricity, especially when you rub things like a tack rag or a final wipe towel. It's literally like taking a balloon and rubbing it on your hair. This piece of equipment completely eliminates the static charge, and this is standard procedure in most body shops these days. It's a really valuable piece of equipment. I want to control the dirt and crap that I put in this paint job. I want to have that be my say what falls into the paint. No static electricity on the surface. It guarantees that nothing's going to get sucked in from the environment. So it's a really good piece of gear. I freely admit I'm kind of a gun snob, but we're going to be using several different spray guns for this patina tailgate. Now I cover spray gun selection, maintenance, cleaning, basic fundamental use, all of that in Paintucation University course online. But just a snapshot of that is this. We're going to be using a 1.3 fluid tip for the basic color, for the green color. We're also going to be using a 1.0, very small minigun tip for discreetly dispensing the red oxide primer on. I can dial this gun down to a very small pattern and I can style with this gun. With this gun, I want the green color, big, even, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do the color styling with these guys. This is my top coat gun. This is what I'll apply the clear coat with because it gives a very smooth coating. Faded paint is typically very smooth. There's very little orange peel. So this gun with a 1.2 is going to suit it very, very well. This gun here is going to be what we apply the sealer with. This is going to be, this is a 1.3 fluid tip on this guy, and it's generally for a little bit thicker material, which the sealer coat is a bit thicker. Do you need 4 different spray guns for this project? Probably not. You can get by with just one gun. So you don't have to buy the top of the line guns. I've been a professional technician for 35 years, so I want the professional guns. However, you can get by with one. You can buy a gun from one of the other stores. What I will recommend is that you get multiple fluid tips with the gun. Some of the real cheap guns, you can't get that. You can't get like a 1.3 to 1.5 and a 1.6. So buy the type of gun that you can get multiple fluid tips with as replacement parts. That way you only have to buy one gun body and multiple needle and tip sets. You can save money that way, and you can do 5 different procedures with one gun. It doesn't matter what paint system that you're using, you've got a TDS sheet for every product that you're ever going to spray, including your body fillers, which you don't technically spray, you wipe them on. The TDS for everything. It's really valuable information. I've got one for my epoxy, and of course I'm not suited up ready to spray yet, but I've got my information out here, so I've got my quick reference for the materials I'm going to spray. For my epoxy, I know that I've got a 1-to-1 mix. I've got my induction time laid out in here. It takes an hour after we spray it to top coat. We're going to go have lunch. We can time our project out, and then I've got Chromax XP base coat. It gives me temperature ranges, mix ratios, all the information I need to know how fast it dries. There's multiple coats. You never have one coat of coverage, even with some strong, dark colors. So it allows me to understand and do the paint recipe in my head before I actually apply it. I'm using a 1.3 fluid tip on a SATA 5000B HVLP gun. This is my go-to these days, and it's a good size for a smooth coat of sealer. This sealer is a single coat product. It's not made for sanding or high build, only for sticking to the metal and providing a great landing zone for the new paint. This process saves us a lot of prep time. Every time I'm not going to use the gun again, I blow it apart, clean all the mating surfaces, and make sure that it's clean and ready to use the next time I need it. This is a two-stage system in most cases, color, then clear. My color mix is 2-to-1 with reducer, and then I'm ready to spray. I spray several medium wet coats of green to get the gate covered, and then follow it by a low-pressure distribution coat to even out the metallics. This is the part where art comes into the room. John brings the original patinaed gate so we can copy the aging. The red oxide color gets mixed, same ratio, 2-to-1, and loaded into the minigun with a 1.0 fluid tip. When I look at that, it's pretty dang close. It looks a little pinkish, but when you look, so interesting. So this gun likes about 22 psi. If you look at the gauge there, I'm at 7 psi. Look at the edge, and look at this edge. Look how close that is, right? So, we're breaking rules here, but we're trying to follow that. So we can make that a little more random with a couple of different, maybe I can go like that, like that, whatever. I can mess around, figure that out. But now I know that about 7 psi is going to get me really close there. So I'll just kind of sneak up on it. It's not very often I get to play around like this, so styling these colors is really a fun process, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So for me right here, the tailgate is going to get a lot of abuse. So to have a wear mark up here, I think makes a lot of sense. We're going to put some rust trails down there, but right here, I'm going to say that somebody's palm or somebody's thumb wore the paint off right there. All right, so we got to create the illusion of depth and age here. We can't do it with one single color. It looks too flat. So we're going to come in with an airbrush with a little bit darker. We're going to tint this oxide color a little bit darker, come with an airbrush and just do a little bit more styling, just a little bit more realism. So plan B on the airbrush, I don't have the right fittings, but this is a 1.0 fluid tip. It's a tiny, tiny fluid tip. So I've darkened the paint, I've thinned it out to a water thickness, and we're just going to see what else it does. I want a bit more dimension. Alright, so I can get some shading that way. I can do some rust trails here for that. Ish. With a little bit darker color, I'm getting that contrast, a little bit of a unevenness. It looks a little more authentic, a little bit of depth to it. When you're doing a project like this, the rules of applying these chemicals, they still apply. Where we can break rules is the rules of applying the colors to make it look like a new vehicle. That's where we can have fun and get creative. We can safely tape this to do a conventional two-tone, which is one color, a division, and then another color. So we're within our tape time. But what we want to do is create a hard edge here and make it look like the actual tailgate. So I want to I'm going to diminish the glue. See what I'm doing here? So rubbing the glue on my pant leg. What that does is it makes it stick less. So now I can bear into that surface a little bit. And I think the tape time on this product is about 20 minutes. So I can come in here. I can pull it back just so I can see that style line break. And that's going to give me my hard edge. So my paint will and I can even pull it unevenly to where it's inconsistent. I don't want it perfect. None of this has to be perfect. Things oxidizing and wearing out in nature are not perfect. So we're going to make it inconsistent there. I'm going to bring another piece of tape. That's the way I'm not polluting this other with my overspray. Oops, well, tape sure likes to stick to itself. All right, good. So now I'm going to come in here and judiciously apply a little bit of green and try and get the same effect that's on the other gate.
I think that did it. Look at that.
The clear is half shiny, so this is more like a satin clear anyways. So we're going to start with the satin clear and brighten it up with a full clear, but it's flatter right here. So what we're going to do is called a two-gun method. I'm going to clear the panel so we have protection from UV and it's strong so you can touch it, and then I'm going to come back and style the flat clear over top of our patina places to make it look a little bit closer to this, because this is flat, that's sort of halfway shiny, and it's inconsistent all the way around. So we can really play with it from here and continue to build on the dimension and depth of what took 60 years to occur here in about 2.5 hours here. This is a two-stage system and needs clear coat for strength. So we're using the flat clear, which helps us keep an aged look while protecting the ground coat colors, which would only last a couple of months at most out in the elements. All right, so this is satin clear. I'm putting a flattening additive in. It's really going to chalk it up. I'm going to do about a 1-to-1 ratio. And what that's going to do is give me a tool to go back in and kind of dust it in on our patinaed areas and give it a little bit more authenticity, a little bit more flatness or chalkiness on those areas. I'm dusting in the super flat clear with my mini 1.0 fluid gun just to blend it over the rust colors. This will help it look a little more naturally faded and aged. After it sits overnight, I'm brushing color into the surface to give it more dimension, just daubing it in. This will eventually dry differently and look even more authentic. It's a mix of black and the darkest red oxide blend we had. Johnsgate had super faded white painted colors on the Ford logo, so I dry brushed the outline slightly with a white base. Overall, the look is really authentic. I'm super happy with it. And we've not only given John a way to close his tailgate again, but the paint doesn't stand like a sore thumb and look too new. He keeps a character of his awesome early Bronco. Hope you liked that video, and I hope you got some great tips on how to create authentic patina. And if you're looking for a book, Cartech Publishing has this one that I wrote, Patina, How to Create and Preserve. Lots of great how-to steps here. If you're a video guy like me, Paintucation.com has a patina video. It's step-by-step how to do layering and how to do sanding through, vintage lettering, how to age glass, how to age chrome, how to prematurely rust metal. Great tips on how to create a wonderful patina effect. Go to www.paintucation.com. Check it out. It's about 15 bucks. Thanks for watching this. Hope you've subscribed. See you on the next one.